Hey, it's Acoustic Stevo, the Crypto Bard, making his way into the cryptoverse. Join me on my journey. Let's have some fun. All right, today I'm going to be going over there's a bunch of glare in that. I'm going to be going over the three manifestations of each of the elements in the zodiac and how they play out on the plane that we live on. And just some basic things that I've been thinking about I thought I could share. So if anyone is in this live stream, I'm going to go in here real quick and check my actual YouTube page where the live stream is, because it will show me my chat. I'm trying to see if this software I'm using right now will allow the chat to pop up so I don't have to go in here to see the chat. So I think something might have happened there. Looks like I lost my stuff. I don't want to mess with the orientation there, but there we go. Let's go back into YouTube. You got to put it on a desktop site, otherwise you can't really do a whole lot in it. And then you can go into Creator Studio. And then to live streaming. And then I should see my stuff pop up and this actual stream that's going right now. And I'm going to type in the chat real quick. I'm going to say something to everyone. I'm going to say, let me know if you are here. Makes it hard to see. Scrolling down, there we go. Nothing even recorded. Looks like I'm going to have to type it. That's going to be a challenge. There we go. Let me know if you are here. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Maybe that will pop up in my chat, like in this program. I'm not so sure I even have that ability on this program, but I would like to know. So if you come into my chat here, please go ahead and let me know if you're here, and then I'll see if it actually comes through on this app, because now I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Actually, I'm not. I'll just leave it in the background, but I'm going to zoom this out more if I can. Come on. Oh, goodness. There we go. We move it. We move it all the way up in the corner. It doesn't want to work. Maybe I need to go to a different screen. Let's try that. All right. It's kind of annoying. Maybe it'll let me zoom it in. There we go. Now if I zoom it back out, looks like that's as big as it wants to get. That's fine. All right, so I was thinking a lot about this, and I came up with something I haven't really heard anybody else talk about. Doesn't mean it hasn't been talked about, but if you start at the beginning of the astrological wheel with the Aries, then you have the next sign Taurus, and then you have the next sign Gemini, and then you have the next sign Cancer. And these are your four elements in the very first quadrant of the zodiac. And I was just thinking about what they have in common. And actually I was thinking about Virgo. And it kind of led me to think about this. And what they all have in common is that they are kind of the potency, the root of the element, so to speak. And so I started thinking, well, where do the roots reside? Well, under the earth, right? and then I started thinking about Virgo, and I'm like, okay, well, if the roots are under the earth, and where's that put Virgo? Well, on top of the earth, right? And then I started thinking, well, if you keep, so that could be what the next quadrant of Leo, Virgo, I'm sorry, um, Leo, and then Virgo, and then and when I say quadrant, I mean 4 signs in a row: Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. They all have something in common as well. And then Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces all have something in common. And what it is the level of interaction. So Aries is the roots of fire. So when they interact with people, it's almost like they're backed by fire. It's that Mars energy, that will, that desire, that drive is always there, and it puts them planted to the spirit and the actual potency of that energy. And they're a cardinal sign, so the way they interact is from having roots of fire. So um, they basically are able to summon from the, if you think of the plane that we're on, they're able to summon the power from underneath them, right? So I think if they actually put this into practice and they realize this, their actual manifestation power might increase in potency, like if they realize where their firepower is on the plane they're on, right? So their firepower comes from below, right? And the same with the Taurus. Their earth power comes from the earth itself, the soil, everything underneath what we're walking on. So they're grounded, they're a fixed sign, grounded to earth, the most potent, I would argue, earth sign. And so their energy is also coming from below them, up into them. They're rooted into the earth energy. And then Gemini, well, they're ruled by Mercury and their air, so they're elevated a little bit, but still, I would say of all the earth signs, the Gemini is about um, interacting mentally with everything that is to be interacted with. And so their energy also, I would guess, would come from below, like as roots. They are Mercury, so they can move around a lot, but they still have like this ethereal root underneath them that gives them the potency of their energy. So that's why their communication is so raw and so easily snatched by them and easily done with what they do, and projected out because it's coming from underneath. They're a mutable sign. So here we're changing the different aspects of the actual signs themselves. But if you think about it, it's almost like the roots are what the concept of mutable, fixed, and cardinal are actually associated almost with the element here at the very beginning. So if you think about it, cardinal and fire, right? It's about the spirit of leadership, of going out and actually implementing your desire and your will, which is what Aries does, right? So it's almost like a fire type concept in itself, the whole cardinal thing. So it's rooted in cardinality and fire, and that's why Aries are so potent and able to really, really get across who they are in a really significant way with people in general and life in general. And then you have Taurus, it's fixed and it can stay wherever it's at and just have power wherever it's at because it's a fixed earth sign, right? So it's its potency underneath its feet, right? It's manifesting up into its being. It comes from the earth itself. More so than I was saying that the Aries, it's also underneath its feet and it comes up. It's the fire that comes out of the earth. It's not really the earth itself, like Taurus. And Taurus is a fascinating sign just because of that, because we live on the planet Earth, and if you really start to think about it. And then Gemini is is also coming out of the earth. It's like we all are on this plane, we're all interacting with it. But whereas a Virgo is about like, I'm going to get to the second tier in a minute. I'm still on the first tier, so I don't want to skip ahead. But where a Virgo is like, mutable, just it just stays right in this plane, right? It just stays in the what you can see and what you can do with what you can see. Whereas the Gemini, it can go and draw from underneath. It could draw ideas out of the earth. It could draw the air out of the earth, because in the earth there's pockets of air. It's not just dense stuff. There's air in the earth. And so Gemini can kind of draw everything out of its environment to talk about and to communicate about and do all the air stuff. And then you got Cancer, another cardinal sign. So it's like, you start with Aries, which is the fire cardinal, and then in the first quadrant you have Cancer, which is the water cardinal. And what do they both have in common? Well, they're both about intense emotion and spirit, just in a different way, where water is the emotion and air is the spirit, but they're both kind of intangible concepts, but they both have such a bearing on what it is to be a human being that they might as well be tangible as earth. And, air is pretty tangible. You breathe it in, you interact with it, and water is too. You drink it, it sustains you. And fire keeps you warm. I mean, your body has to be at a certain temperature or you're going to die, and it has to be specific. So what I'm getting at is you have another cardinal sign here in Cancer, and it's the root, and it's like the ultimate root. And what it is that you have the root of emotion, and if you look at it, it corresponds to the fourth house, which is the rootedness of existence, if you ask me. It's like your clan. It's like your home. It's like everything that extends outside of you as far as your immediate environment, right? It's like your karmic stuff that you bring as well. So it's at the bottom of the zodiac, right? That line right there for the fourth house. It goes straight down into the earth. So it makes sense that it comes out. And so I'm just going to quickly go through this because I don't want to take too much time. My wife just came home. It's my day off. I'm going to hang out with her. So I'm just going to move on to the next tier, which is the vertical tier, where you stand. It's everything on the level of who you are and where you are. Maybe a little bit higher up, but it's like pretty much defined in your 3D space. And that would be starting with Leo. So now you take the fire up out of the earth that Aries had, and you're walking around with it everywhere you go. You're your own sun. You shine this light wherever you walk around. You got that Leo light shining, the Leo sun. And then after that, you go up, you grab Virgo, and it's now taking the earth up. So it brings all the qualities of earth out to be discussed. It's, a mutable sign ruled by Mercury, so there's a lot of communication going on, but it's all about practical things that have to do with stability. And it's on the level, like it doesn't want to go down into, the below stuff that the other signs did. It doesn't want to go up into the higher realm of thought, which I'm going to get to in the next tier. So it's just interacting on this level. And then you have Libra, and it interacts I'm a Libra, it interacts on this level, this 3D level. And what it does is it communicates. It's an air sign, and it's a cardinal sign. So what its desire is to be a leader in communication and relationships. So a Libra walks around, and it's all about communicating on this level. Like, it spends its time thinking about what's actually in front of it as far as manifesting whatever it is, and its relationships, right, with other people. And then you go on to the last one, which is Scorpio. Now, Scorpios, this is where it gets kind of fun, if you ask me. I've got a Scorpio rising and a lot of planets in Scorpio, so I really understand the sign of Scorpio. And what it is it really gives you the essence of water. Because when you take water, unlike we started with fire, you could see the sun shining around with the Leos. And then we go to Earth, which, the Virgos are kind of subdued, but they're still, really kind of, they got that Mercury lightness to them. And they're really good communicators. And then you got the Libras, and they're just all like going around trying to talk to everyone and have fun and be Venus people and lead Venus type stuff. But then you get to Scorpio, and it's Mars, and it's emotion, and it's Pluto, it's transformative. So what Scorpios do is they bring this level, this 3D level right in front of them that they also live in, but on an emotional level. So it's not rooted like the Cancer where it's all coming out of past lives and past experiences. It's more just whatever's in front of them, just like all the other signs that are living on the 3D level of the tiered thing that I'm talking about. So it's really intense because it's emotion. It's like the rawest emotion. You know, Leos are pretty intense too. Don't get me wrong, but Scorpio, it's got this. It shows you the rawness of the water element, like up in your face, like what it can do, and it just makes it interact on this level, and then you go up to the next tier, and you start with Sagittarius, a mutable sign, right? And that kind of sets the theme for the last tier, which is up there. It's like, where can we go? You got this archer shooting arrows up into the sky, you know? You got it trying to find new ways to talk and communicate. All this energy from Jupiter just, you know what I mean? So that's the upward tier. That's the heaven tier. That's the out of this level tier. It's not the below. It's not the other tier. Now we're under the upward tier, and it starts with Sagittarius. Then it goes into Capricorn, which is all about building and manifesting practical things, not just where it's at, but everywhere. You know, it has like a mass plan. Like it's the city builder. It's not just the lower vibration. It has like an agenda. It's a cardinal sign. It wants to manifest a lot. So then you go into Aquarius, and you have the person that wants to communicate and be an individual and have the world understand its ideas as the potency of the fixed sign that Aquarius is. And it's some people say it's the sign of genius and insanity. Well, the reason why is because it interacts with people at a level to where they actually have to put a label like genius or insanity on it, because it's in that upper realm, you know, the way its communication style is going, and it's an air sign, and it's fixed. And then the last one is Pisces. So it takes all the emotion, and it's not living in the emotion down here. It's living in the emotion up there and everywhere. And that's kind of the end of it all, right? So that's really all I had to say about that. If anybody did stop in, thanks, and have a good day.